Let's take a look at how anxiety disorders are different than everyday anxiety. So anxiety tends to become a problem when it keeps us from doing normal activities and impairs our ability to function. So anxiety becomes a disorder when it's distressing, persistent, and also has dysfunctional behaviors that are aimed to reduce the anxiety. So there are four different anxiety disorders. There's obsessive compulsive disorder, or otherwise known as OCD. And we'll kind of look at that a little bit further because I think a lot of the times we have a different perception of what that is versus what it really looks like. And then there's generalized anxiety disorder, phobias, social anxiety disorder, and panic disorder. Obsessive compulsive disorder would be things like washing your hands consistently, like over and over and over and over again. There becomes an irrational thought of, if I don't wash my hands, then I'll get the plague and then I'll die. Like something that's very drastic, and the hand washing would actually interfere with normal functioning. So it's not like I wash my hands and I go and do something. It's I wash my hands, that wasn't good enough, I have to wash them again. And next thing you know, you're spending 15, 20 minutes washing your hands when you should be on your way to work or you should be at school. Generalized anxiety disorder is kind of just a generalized anxiety with everything. Like, it's hard to pinpoint what the anxiety is with generalized anxiety disorder, where it's like, well, it's school, it's home, it's friends, it's a lot of things, or it's I don't know, I just constantly feel anxiety. Phobias, we're all familiar with, like, arachnophobia, agoraphobia, and these are fears that people have. It's when they're extreme in the fact that it's like, I can't go outside because a spider is going to be in front of me and I can't do anything. When normally you'd be like, okay, there's a spider outside and I can step over it and move on my way. It's where that anxiety paralyzes you in keeping you from doing what you need to do. Social anxiety is when you avoid social situations and you don't go out and hang out with your friends, you don't go to parties, you don't even go to the store because you're really afraid of what's going to happen in those social situations. That's what makes it a little bit different than like being shy. You aren't able to do normal things. Panic disorder is when you start having a physiological experience with your anxiety, where you're having a hard time breathing, your palms are sweating, your heart is racing, and you're starting to almost have feelings like you might actually die from this. I once worked with a girl who had a panic disorder where she would go into public places and her heart would just start racing, which is normal for anxiety. But then she would, start breathing heavily, and she would start losing feeling in her fingers and her toes, and then would just start, being really upset about not being able to breathe well, and had an honest fear of thinking that she was going to die.